guys, Aaron Jana here for Forever Football, DRFC, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel. It's time for Press Talk. This is the brand new series on the channel where we're reacting to press conferences that have happened during times. Of course, today was a big one. We do have a part 2 of this when we get the official interviews from James Coppinger and Graham Younger, but today is like a part 1 in a 2-parter video where we get statements from Richie Wellens, statements from Noel Hunt, the assistant manager, and also a statement from Gavin Baldwin, the chief executive of the football club. We've taken some notes. It's not full sentences, but it's notes from what they've said in their interviews. The interviews are on BBC Radio Sheffield or Football Heaven. You can listen to those interviews on BBC Sounds. But I listened to all 3 of them. I've got to say this right first. I feel something. I feel something exciting happening right now. It might take a year or 2 to build, but it's so exciting to hear this. So I've taken some notes from all of the 3 interviews. I'm going to speak about my thoughts on them. So please like the video, comment down below your thoughts and opinions, subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. And let's get into this one. So, starting off with the gaffer, the boss, the main man, the godfather, Richie Wellings, who's released his statement. So in terms of notes that I've taken from his official press conference, so in terms of what he said during the interview, everything's in place, more permanent players for a foundation, some loan players for flickers of magic, attacking young players, that's what he wants from his loans. So very exciting there, top quality, that's what he wants. Respective budget, that's what he said on the budget this season, respective. Momentum determines the finishing position, that's an impressive statement. And I think that's something we lacked going into the end of the previous season, the last 23 games of the season. I think that we lacked momentum, and we didn't have that. So I think that that's important, and it determines where we will finish, whether we are going to be in a promotion push or whether we're going to be in a mid-table finish again. But it is a rebuild, so we'll take time with it. Now, last season was not his concern, so we didn't really mention much about last season. He said he wants players that will want to be here. That's what his preference is, players that want to be here. He did mention about players in terms of loan players and permanent players. You know, wants like the 40+ games, 4 or 5 players and rough diamond loans. You know, that's his sort of preference here. But he wants players that are not going to tire out, you know, during the 40-game period. He doesn't want players that are there for their extra wage check. That's what he said in the interview, which I thought was refreshing to hear. You know, he said the loans depend on the characters. They have to do with they have to do the homework in terms of the way they play, the system, the tactics, the right characters. Because he said too many first-timer loans, so first-timers in this league, run out of steam quickly. So, and I think we had that, you know, with the likes of Robertson, Simoes, Balcom in a way, Richards at times. You know, we had that. Sims, second half of the season, ironically as well. So, you know, I think that's another correct statement there from Wellens. Apparently, Wellens, 100% gets final say on the transfers. And he says, you wonder why you don't hear any bad stories coming from the club. It's because it's run well. So that's refreshing to hear. It's so refreshing to hear that. Now, in terms of the Reece James and Brad Halliday situation, he did say nothing's confirmed yet, but they are moving forward, which is quite positive indeed that we could be keeping our 2 main fullbacks, Halliday and James. In terms of transfer targets, he said midfield is his first area of concern. Dynamic with a football brain, that's what he looks for. He wants someone who can play forward quickly. In terms of wingers, John Taylor's the only one who's been here long term, so over a year at the club. John Taylor's the only winger realistically that's been here over a year that knows the league. So he wants creative wingers. He wants some creativity in his wingers. Now, in terms of the number 9, and this is a very interesting one, and this is where I think fans need to come into play here. He's going to give Bogle and Okunabiri an opportunity. However, it's up to the individuals. They're going to give them more freedom. They need to be enjoying themselves. He's going to give them more enjoyment. They're going to give them more freedom. It's a nice clean slate. But if nothing's happening, because he knows what it takes to score goals, he said in the interview he knows that he can't walk on there and score goals. The manager can't walk on the pitch and score goals. And he needs them to do the work as well. He sets up the tactics, he sets up the freedom of play, the right patterns, and gets them playing that system and gives them more enjoyment. It's up to the strikers then to finish. Okenabiri, not a problem with that, because he's our top goal scorer this past season just gone. Obviously Kieran Sadley was our top goal scorer 2 years ago. Okenabiri was our top goal scorer this past season. So with Omar Bogle, basically it is, you've been given all these tools, you've been given this freedom, go out and do it, otherwise we're going to bring in a new number 9. We're going to bring in another striker, and we're going to make you work for your position. So that's so refreshing to hear, and I think fans that have got a football brain will listen to that part of the interview and think, right, okay, we know that Bogle might not have long left to prove himself, so he needs to buck up his ideas finishing wise, or he's going to get dropped for a new striker. So I think fans will give Bogle the time. It's just whether Bogle can now take it in his stride, do what he needs to do, and get firing. Because now he's working under a manager that will not settle for any second place. He will not settle for anyone who doesn't score goals. He will need a proven goal scorer. He will want someone that will score goals constantly, otherwise you're out the team. So he's not settling for any second best players this next season. This is a crucial first few months for Bogle. It's going to prove what you can do under a manager that will not settle for anything under par. So I think fans will give Bogle the time, because they know that if he doesn't give them the ending product in the next few months, they know that Bogle will be out of the squad. So it should be interesting. It'll be interesting. I think things have started to heat up already. Now, in terms of the backroom staff, there's no more new additions. Noel Hunt, the assistant manager, is the last new addition. They said there's no point getting rid of any of the staff that they lean on for support, and any constant staff, because they've not done their jobs wrong. They've all done their jobs right. Hunt is apparently the glue holding it together, and a real asset, which is amazing to hear. We'll go on about his interview in a little bit. And in terms of a stable environment, it's like a Sean O'Driscoll type model on stability. But he's guaranteed, one of his last comments in the interview was, this is not a stepping stone for him. This is a long-term home project. And that's what I love the most about this. The fact that it's not like Grant McCann, Darren Ferguson, Dean Saunders, Darren Moore. It's not one of them. It's a long-term project. It's like Sean O'Driscoll. It's like Dave Penny. It's like the classic days in a modern way, which is fantastic news indeed. Let's go then into the assistant manager's interview before we go finally into the chief executive's interview. That's the one I want to save for last, because very interesting points brought up. But first of all, Noel Hunt, the assistant manager, has said, in terms of first impressions on the club, he thinks it's a really good club, with core family values, a stable structure with a good project to build. That's the sort of notes I took from that question with that, and it's great to hear that from Noel, and I'm sure he'll be a real asset to this club. He said they'll need time, bring the right players, do the hard work, the right characters, put them all on the same page. In terms of his one thing as a player, he knows what it takes to win. The gaffer is clever with his tactics. Can't always play pretty and recognise not to score again to win. He loves winning. That's the thing with Noel here. He loves winning. He loved winning and never loved to lose. He's here to create a culture and sort of include an education of helping football. And he won't settle for just League One. They've got aspirations to reach higher, which is something you always want in a manager and assistant manager. So they're not settling for just League One, and they've got to evolve and be open-minded. This is so exciting! It feels like a brand new era. I can't believe it. He then went on to say about Wellens, he's the go-to. About Noel, he's the go-to, but people still respect the gaffer. He has high standards, keep learning and keep progressing. I think both, I think they both said they're the go-to guys. So I think Noel said he's like I think he was joking about a bit in the interview, like Mullins, well, playing against him, he was moaning a bit and things like that, but I'm like the go-to guy if you need anything. So it's good to have a strict manager who's also one of the lads in a way, but also a go-to assistant manager. It's like a perfect match in a way. He also said, in terms of next steps, they're going to be chatting with Graham Younger with ideas. The players already contracted will be back mid to late June. They've got 3-4 weeks to build and plan before the pre-season starts. So very interesting indeed. And also he said he wants a clear vision, exciting and creating chances. They're going to work on final third, individual magic or right place and right time. The ratios of shots per game is something they're going to look at very interestingly. How to think, attacking front foot football and the right patterns is what they're going to work on in training during the pre-season. So very exciting stuff there from Hunt's interview. Now, this is the one I'm sure many people have been excited about, and this is Gavin Baldwin's interview. So in terms of the interview process, 120 serious candidates, shortlisted to 12, 6 interviewed, and then a final 3. He believes the club identity was lost. Wellens gives us identity, excites the way he talks on football. He wants pride from the football, which Richie Wellens will put us right back on track. Identity was made during the recruitment meeting. Identity is a big thing we've lacked on for years, and it's great the club are sort of recovering that. Now, is it just me, or did I hear him say we've got to be prepared for that first day of the season, Sheffield Wednesday at home? Did I hear him expose the first fixture of the season? Comment down below if you heard the same as I heard, but I'm sure I heard Sheffield Wednesday at home when I was listening to that. If that is the first fixture, we're not going to confirm it. We can't confirm it at this stage, but if Sheffield Wednesday at home is the first fixture, then, you know what? What a test to start off. Not only are we facing Darren Moore on the first day of the season, potentially, but it's a Yorkshire derby. I'm pretty sure he meant fixtures in general. It won't be the first fixture of the season, but I think he was just talking about fixtures in general. He just mentioned Sheffield Wednesday by name. So I think Sheffield Wednesday at home will be a tough fixture. And to be fair, even if that was the case, where he just said Sheffield Wednesday is just any old fixture, I think that's a tough fixture anyway, because especially at home or away, you know, whether it's at Keepmoat or Hillsborough. I think Darren Moore and a Yorkshire derby, it's 2 birds in 1 stone we've got to hunt down. Noel Hunt. Hunt down. That's going to be a bad joke for the rest of the next season. But nah, that's going to be a tough one. And they said we've got to be ready for fixtures like that. So it's going to be interesting. He did also say the final 3 in terms of the process for the final 3. They were asked to fill the gaps from leaving players and just look at the contracts players already. What would they do? Apparently all 3 did excellent with their well-prepared presentations, but Wellens was believable and stood out. Now, in terms of, it was speaking about Sean O'Driscoll and the fact they had a clear identity and philosophy. They had managers without the philosophy, but still delivered some kind of result, whether it was good or bad. He did mention 2 managers in particular, Dean Saunders and Paul Dickov, the former Man City player. Same philosophy needed as Sean O'Driscoll. Too much emphasis on loans to protect the club financially over the COVID era, which you can forgive them for that. Largely through the pandemic pain, they're going to boost the playing budget though. Now the owners have put chunks of money in during tough times. They've helped out whenever with tight times. They've praised the fans for their support as well. So that's really good to hear. Now this was another interesting point. Now the under-23s was a sacrifice. However, what they decided to do here, starting this season, is they're going to play no less than 10 friendlies a season, the best under-23 and the best under-18s. Wellens picks the right team, it's a more flexible approach and it allows more money for the first team. So my guess from that statement is the players that are not playing in the first team in matches, they're going to play them in friendlies to allow Wellens to have his first team ready. And then the players that are not playing are still playing and still playing as part of not an under-23s team, but like a friendlies team, just to keep the match fitness up. So it's a more financial, flexible approach, and it allows the club to put more money into the first team, which is what they want to do, which is amazing to hear. Now he said even financially, owners allow for more on budget. We're in a lot better place. There's no debt to pay back, which is wonderful news. We're more even financially. It's a rebuild, they said. They said they want promotion, and fans will have they need to have fans to have the confidence for the next couple of seasons, because they said they want promotion, But, if we don't get it this year, then it will be in the next year or two. So, it's a rebuild. That's the main message here. It's a rebuild. If it happens in the first year, amazing. But it's going to take a couple of years, 2-3 years realistically, to build this project. So, I'm really excited from those interviews. Wellens, Hunt and Baldwin. Really good interviews. Can't wait to see what Young has said. Can't wait to see what Coppin just said in his brand new role and what he's going to do to make the club succeed from off the field. But man, I mean, you see the social media reaction. Do you see the reaction on social media from fans? 98% was, I'm so excited from what I've heard, roll on next season. That is basically what the percentage was. The extra 2% was a mixture of not too sure, see what happens. I think one or two people were like, nah, I don't believe it. But those people don't know football. They're not a proper fan, in my opinion. If they're negative from the start, then they're not really a real fan. Just give it time, and if you feel like you want to be negative about certain things throughout the season, don't be afraid to comment it. But don't be negative even before a ball's been kicked. Give them time, and it'll happen. So that's the message we've got to take from this. It's a rebuild. It probably won't happen in the first year, but if it does, it's exciting. It's going to take 2 or 3 years to build this, but, mate, we're getting our identity back, and that's really exciting indeed. So, there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching the first episode of Press Talk. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And for now, my own channel from Forever Football, DRFC, keep living the Rovers life, and that, my friends, full-time, Rovers till I die. Thank you very much.